What's going on, you guys? Slim here with another video today, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another first place OTS championship winning deck profile. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing. Be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you guys will be notified whenever I upload. Now, first thing I'm going to say, a lot of people have been asking me, Slim, why are you uploading these OTS deck profiles? Well, I've already explained in the last two videos, you know, how cool these events are, especially for local shops, and I want you guys to go out there and support your local OTS. If it wasn't for local shops, there wouldn't be a lot of places for people to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Plus, you're able to get the OTS packs. It's just a really good system. And I've just always been a fan of locals, especially if you have a good locals, so I'm all for it. Not only that, everyone knows what's been going on lately. It's pretty crazy. I thought about making a video about it, but not really. With all the events being canceled due to the coronavirus, it's pretty crazy. If you think about it, a lot of regionals are getting canceled. Out here in Cali, our regionals are getting canceled. Out in other states, regionals are getting canceled. They canceled YCS Charlotte. People think they're gonna cancel YCS Hartford. Every YCS that's going on pretty much in the United States is pretty much getting postponed or canceled, and we don't know what's gonna happen. So right now, these are the only events we have, and I know a lot of people look at OTS and just say it's a glorified locals. Well, it is, and not only that, but you are playing, you know, 8 rounds usually, at least more like 6 to 7 rounds, kind of close to a regional, and you are playing for your invite. So while it may not be the same caliber of event, it's still something really important, and I really like to showcase the people that win these events because it's just really cool to see that, you know, it's pretty much all meta. All the decks I've profiled for you guys have been all meta, and it really still does speak volumes to what our meta is shaping up to be. So that's all I wanted to say. Hopefully we see what happens with more events, but for right now, these are what we got. So we'll get into this. My boy Cameron Bond, shout out to you, bro. Thank you for sending me your list. Yeah, he played True King Dinos, you guys. Of course, you got 3 copies of Baby Sarasaurus along with the 1 Prankatops. You get the 1 copy of the Kaiju Doggeron, just out any problematic card, the 1 Giant Rex, and the 1 Jurak Alo. This card is getting better and better. It's just crazy like what you can do with this card. Being able to make Trishula is so terrifying. Like making a Trishula and then literally overlaying into a True King of all calamities is just disgusting. Like you rip a card from your opponent's hand, their field, their grave, whatever, and then you make a calamities that says you can't play. Like that's ridiculous. 3 copies of Miscellaneousaurus. Ever since this card came back to 3, this deck has been on fire. It's got multiple tops now. It's got a win because of the Team YCS. Like the Dino deck is actually just insane right now, and having 3 copies of this does so much. Protection for your Dinos, being able to summon more cards from the deck is just ridiculous. I think this is one of the best cards that could have came back at 3, and it does so much for the deck. The 1 copy of Petrie, the 1 little extra baby. The card's decent. It lets you, I know this is the one that lets you summon Prankatops from the deck, so it's pretty cool. You have, of course, your best card in the deck, the 3 Soul Eating Oviraptor. This card does everything. Everyone thinks this card needs to get hit. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they'll actually go as far to hit this card, but the card's nuts. Then, of course, the True Kings. It's just 3 copies of the 3 Fire one, and of course the 1 Lithogasm. This card coming back is absolutely insane. Being able to look at your opponent's extra deck, being able to take away a problematic card is ridiculous. It's up to 3 cards, I believe. Yeah, it's up to 3 cards. This card is just nuts. This card is terrifying, actually. Like, if this card resolves, being able to take away some of your opponent's resources for free is ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, all these guys help you make calamities, so there's no reason not to play them. Plus, they trigger the babies. Then, of course, Big Daddy himself, 2 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This card's usually game. This card just storms over the whole board, and you just win because of it. This card's quick play massive Book of Moon effect is ridiculous. I think this card, even after all the years it's been out, is still absolutely insane, and definitely made this deck what it is today. On to the spells. We got the 1 Diagram. Of course, it's at 1. 3 copies of Fossil Dig. This isn't once per turn, so you literally can just keep searching. It's pretty crazy. 3 copies of Lightning Storm, one of my favorite cards in the game right now. This card is definitely necessary. You need it for the back row matchups. There's a lot of them, like Subterrors, Altergeist, any kind of stun deck. Not only that, again, every video I'll mention it, it's a Raigeki. Everyone forgets that. If you Dark Ruler the board or whatever, and then Lightning Storm the board, it's gone. So it's pretty crazy. Just something to think about. Like this card is nuts. You've got the 2 copies of Lost World. It goes with the Diagram. Being able to get to your field is really important. Lost World is nuts. It can really hinder your opponent's plays, makes it to where they can't target anything until they deal with the token. So having that token, if they don't have a way to link with it, or they don't play a link 1 or whatever it is, that token can just sit there, and that token just buys you free turns. It literally buys you access to your babies, access to your effects, and it's just ridiculous. I think Lost World is a fantastic field spell. 2 copies of Mind Control. You guys already know this deck is Blinding Second, so there's no reason not to play this card. This card just can break an entire board by itself. 1 copy of Mystic Mind. So this goes with the field spell spell package. So you've got the 1 diagram, the 1 mine, and the 2 lost worlds. These are just in here because sometimes you can win a couple games off Mystic Mine. Not only that, when you play set rotation, you need to have other, field spells in your deck. So Mystic Mine can be a game stealer. We already know that this card is degenerate as all hell, but we need to play it this format, unfortunately. If your opponent is not main decking an out to it, you can literally just win the game off that, so it's pretty crazy. 3 copies of Pot of Extra. This card is getting a reprint, so everyone will be able to get access to this card. This card is fantastic in this deck. Being able to, just draw 2 cards is ridiculous, so super important to play it in this deck. Your extra deck is not as important as you think, plus you play a lot of 3-ofs. Then the 1 set rotation and the 1 terraforming to be your extra copies of Diagram or Lost World or whatever you need. And then as you're going second, you play 3 evenly, because evenly just breaks the whole board. Like literally, it baits in Negator, it breaks the whole board, and you just win because of it. So this card is absolutely insane. Watching your opponent go evenly matched, destroying your board, and then making a Calamities is GG no re. It's pretty nuts. On the side deck, we got triple copies of Lancia along with the Scythe. He's playing the Sanctums as well. So he decided to go a different route with the artifact package. He values the Lancia more. Lancia is not bad. Lancia has still a lot of application. I think a lot of people forget about this card. I think this card still does a lot this format. There's a lot of decks that still banish and do a lot of banishing during their turns. It's decent against Spiral. That makes it so they can't make Sleeper, which is usually like a problematic card for every deck. So Lancia is a fantastic card for that, along with, the Scythe, of course, because you're just able to end your opponent's turn. So these cards are cool. Being able to Sanctum this out as well is super important. In case you play against anything like Infernoid or any kind of deck that relies on banishing, this card just shuts them down for the whole turn. 2 copies of Ash, generic. 1 copy of Nibiru is a little odd, but 1 copy of Nibiru might be all you need. Nibiru goes in and out of formats. It's really hard to say how good or bad the card is. The card is really good, punishing overextension, but other than that, the card can sometimes fall short if your opponent only summons 4 times or knows how to play around Nibiru, or puts up an Appaloosa before the 5th summon. So Nibiru is here or there, but I still really like the card, so I'm glad he still included it. 3 copies of Call by the Grave. This is just so that none of your guys get stopped. You want to, especially if you're going second or if they could go first, being able to just, set things up like a true king of all calamities, unhinged by using Call by the Grave on any of the hand traps that could hinder you is fantastic. Plus, this card is just really good going first or second. Being able to take stuff out of the graveyard is amazing. 2 copies of Twin goes with the Lightning Storm, standard for all the back row decks, and the 3 Sanctum that I already mentioned because it goes with the artifact package. Extra deck. So the extra deck here is kind of like whatever. Extra decks for Dino decks are like all over the place. Some things matter, some things don't. The one thing that did matter is you did play triple copies of Trishula. So Trishula does come up. Being able to rip a card out of your opponent's hand deck graveyard is nuts. A hand filled in graveyard is nuts. Plus it makes Calamities. It's level 9. The 1 Dweller comes up a lot against a lot of matchups, so you want to have it. 1 copy of Dolka, 2 copies of Lagia. That's a little different than what we usually see. Some players do 2 Dolka, but Lagia is still really cool too. It's a Solemn Judgment, so it is important. Being able to set this up with other interruptions is fantastic. The 1 Tornado, you need it for the back row decks. He chose to only play 2 copies of True King of all Calamities. It's probably just because he wanted to have more room for some of the other cards, which is fine. You just hope you don't banish them all. It's not always your win condition, but you do want to have access to it no matter what. Then we got the 1 Appaloosa. This deck makes this card so easily. Just being able to play this, play it around Nibiru, and then literally just set up your board is ridiculous. Appaloosa with UTC is ridiculous. A Boral Sword, because you'll kill them. 2 copies of Phoenix. I guess he valued wanting to have a 2nd copy of Phoenix since it comes up. You notice he's got a lot of hate for the back row decks, because back row decks are kind of hard for this deck to play through sometimes, so you want to have as many outs as possible. And then the Game Ender itself, Pentastack. So this card is nuts. People that don't know, it's just 2 effect monsters, and it reads, if your linked monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. So basically you just have this thing and you have Ultimate Conductor. Like, it's ridiculous, and you just end their life. Like, literally you just end their life because it inflicts piercing damage to your opponent. So you can literally use this thing and just like end the game. So this card is ridiculous. One of the best cards that you can play in this deck. I think it's fantastic. So that's it for the main side. Next to you guys, and he just gave me his little tournament report real quick. So round 1 he played against Ulcergeist, he 2-0'd it. Round 2 he played against Shaddoll Invoked, and he 2-0'd it. Round 3 he played against Paleozoics, and he beat it 2-1. Round 4 he played against Pendulums, and he beat it 2-0. Round 5, I guess, which is top 4 or whatever, Shaddoll Invoked. He beat it 2-1. Top 8, Shaddoll Invoked, 2-1. Open triple evenly, games 1 and 2. He beat it 2-1. Semifinals, he played against Shaddoll Invoked and beat it 2-0. And in the finals, he beat Salad 2-0. So that is it, you guys. That is my boy Cameron Bond's first place OTS Championship, True King Dino deck profile. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Again, I know a lot of you are wondering why, we post so many of these OTS profiles. It's like I said, I want you guys to get out there and support your OTS. No matter where you are, if you have a good locals, you guys be happy for it, because not every place has good locals. I used to be in a situation where I didn't have the best locals. They weren't as competitive. They didn't support us players as much. And trust me, at the end of the day, what you really want is a locals that, you know, not only support you, but could be like a healthy environment for you to play the game you love. And I think it's super important to be able to go in, you know, and just have tournaments that reward players for doing well. And I just think it's important at the end of the day. But those are just my thoughts. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. I really like Dinos this format. I think this deck is still nuts. I think it's going to be one of the best decks of the format. Continue to be one of the best decks of the format. It can just do so much, and it's so consistent. And for what I heard, the Dino decks are getting reprinted along with the Pot of Extravagance reprints. I think we're going to see a lot more players being able to pick up this deck and do wonders with it. But yeah, that's all I got to say, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.